on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you might have been up.
Yeah, we were playing
And
the Korean barbecue chicken team.
they were the chicas or chicos.
Chicken.
You
Something
mean
like
like a
that.
rooster? Good old Maddie. So anyway, I hadn't eaten dinner, and we were talking, like, you can't go wrong with a smoky, right? Like, when in doubt, you're at especially at the ball field, like any concession smoky, like, you know what you're getting. It's a smoky. Everybody wins. So I looked, and because I got
About
there,
$6 too expensive, but it's
you know what? You make a judgment call. Hunger dominates the moment. So anyway, I look, and I'm like second last in the lineup because apparently I was second last to get there, which I feel is not fair because I clearly am one of the best players on this team, on my adopted work team. So anyway, I'm looking, and I'm seeing how the game's progressing. I know I've got time, so I go and order my smoky. No onions, I say. No onions. I'm picky. Yeah, all good. Sure, man. Ring up my thing, eating my chips, waiting for the smoky to come. Then the smoky comes, and there's mustard and ketchup. Do you know where this is going? You know me. I
yeah.
hate ketchup. I do not eat ketchup. It was already on there. They forced condiments on me. I didn't get a choice in the manner.
Yeah, but did you not, like, you go up and you order the loaded smoky?
No,
And
I
you
ordered
ask
a smoky.
and you specifically, I mean, doesn't the description say smoky, ketchup, mustard?
No, it says onions and cheese, and I said no onions, please.
Oh, okay. I thought it was the loaded smoky, like it comes with everything, so that you would have had to be the guy to be like, I don't want this. But hey, if it said specifically that it only had onions and cheese on it, then yeah, they shouldn't have put your condiments on there for you.
Because condiments, you go anywhere. I've been to Anaheim to see a Ducks game. They have the best condiment bar, by the way, and I've said this a million times. You go to any sporting event, you go to Costco, you go to, like, I don't know, you go anywhere that has hot dogs,
Mm-hmm.
and you put those condiments, the basic condiments, on relish, mustard, and ketchup, the big three, and they forced they forced both of them on me. What if I wasn't a mustard guy?
Hey, you know what? So we had this going, and we were talking earlier about this, and I said, like, if you go up there and you order the loaded, you should expect to get everything. That being said, you are right. So I called you on it again initially, saying that you were wrong, but you are right. So I'll retract and redact whatever I need to do. But you're right.
They
You should
forced
have a
on
choice
me.
about what you're putting on there, even though it's weird that you like mustard more than ketchup.
That's my cross to bear.
That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
Ketchup in itself is, we've had this conversation a million times, extremely overrated sugar sauce.
It was gross.
It's basically jam.
So I had to force, like, I basically rushed the smoky before my at bat. It was a mess.
It was all up in that mustard was all up in that
And the
mustache.
cheese. It was like in there, and I'm wiping, and like napkins are flying, and I run first at bat, double. No problem.
Maybe it was the ketchup.
Maybe.
Are you ready?
Are you kidding me? That's what?
Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding.
My man!
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well.
Welcome to the PP1 Podcast.
Chris was sleeping on the intro, but we're not sleeping on the intro. Chris was sleeping on the intro, but we are not sleeping on the intro. Welcome to the PP1 Podcast. We're here. We're live in person. Well, I mean, I'm in person. You're in person. We're both in person. Are you frozen? You're doing the Steve thing again, or the Chris thing. It's driving me crazy. You're doing a really good job of it. I'm Ryan. I'm the flamboyant. I'm the energetic one. There's Ted, who may or may not be frozen, and I'm waiting for him to blink, and I don't know if he's blinking. Oh, he's doing such a good job of this, and it's driving me crazy. This is the PP1 Podcast. We lost Ted. We lost him, so he actually was frozen. We're on the Dean Blundell Network. We're partnered with our good friends, our very good friends at Move Health and Wellness. Gary, we might need a few bucks to hook up to Ted's Wi-Fi, so that could be a problem. But we're gonna figure it out, and it's gonna be fine. I am officially recording on this because I almost screwed that up. Because typical Ryan, these are the things that he does. We got a big show for you tonight. I was trying to watch the Flames game on my streaming on the TV, but it wasn't allowing. It sounds like Dallas was winning last I checked. Great news. Great news if you don't like the Flames like most Canucks fans do. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got a lot to talk about. Canucks draft lottery. We've got Kuzmenko lottery, which may or may not happen. Hopefully, Canucks are in on that. Is Bruce Boudreau coming back? I have no idea. It sounds like he is. Is Bruce there it is, or Bruce there it was? Bruce, maybe it could be. We're going to find out about that. We've also got, I'm going to bring up Whoomp, there it is, and there's a funny story with that. Villains. Who are your villains in the playoffs? Who are villains that have carried this hatred that you just can't stand years and years and years later? Who are the guys that you just absolutely can't stand? Basically starting in the playoffs, and they carry over to regular season. Ted's back. He's back and alive. I thought he was playing. I thought you were playing games with me with the old Steve and Chris, like frozen moment. And it turns out you actually were frozen, and then you left.
The power just went out.
No kidding.
Yeah. Like
We're
you
talking
can probably
about
hear
your new
everybody
house.
talking
Maybe you
downstairs, but it was like the power went out and people were like screaming outside. Like it was ridiculous. I thought something was happening, but literally the power went out. These people have never heard of that before.
So instead of making sure that you've got your property insurance figured out, you might need to make sure that your power bills are paid.
Yeah.
Fun fact.
That's a thing.
That is a thing. And it looks like you must have paid it very quickly because you're back.
It was like...
It was. But
Yeah.
it was long enough that it severed the moment. You had the 5-year blip.
Yeah, it was...
Who knows what happened? Maybe it's been 5 years. You have the same hat on, though. So
it was this quick snap, yeah.
I was telling everybody because you left, and I thought, how rude. Just letting everybody know what we're getting into. I was saying about the Kuzmenko lottery that's still going on, the Canucks draft lottery. Bruce looks like could be coming back. We've got playoff villains, or like players that are villains that have started in the playoffs, and now you hate those players. Like, who is your villain? I said that we were partnered with our good friends at Move Health and Wellness.
Mm-hmm.
We're good friends again. Not that they weren't. But we're going strong with Move Health and Wellness right through the summer. We're going to carry this. We are going to put them on a pedestal. We're going to lift them up and win that championship belt together. Tag team.
Which is funny, is we played Dr. John's team.
Yes, we did. He's
was it last week?
Last week.
Last week.
I'm busting his balls. He's
and somehow this team full of web developers on slow pitch D League somehow keeps winning games against all odds. I don't know. We walked off on these guys in the 7th inning. It was hilarious.
It wasn't just hilarious. It was one of the moments of the season. Like, we're down 4 going into the bottom of the 7th. We get the 2 runs, and then was it 2 outs too?
No, I don't think so.
I thought, or at 1 out.
I don't think we were ever. Yeah, you know what? 2 outs.
Yeah, I think so. Whatever. It could have been, maybe, I don't know. And then our good buddy, my new good buddy from your work, Jace, steps up. And Jace is clutch.
He's so smooth too.
He just walks up like he's my new NFT buddy, and we're going to get into that one day. But he walks up. He knows what's on the line. There's one on base. Absolutely blast this thing.
And
walk
smash
off.
it, yeah.
And like, it was one of those moments. I don't care what league you're in, D League, E League, F League, G League. That was a homer.
It was gone in every league, yeah.
It was gone.
And he's so casual when he walks up. He's like that when he golfs too. He just like, he's so unassuming, so unsuspecting. Like he walks up to the tee box and then smashes it, 300 yards.
Crazy. I don't know how people do that. It doesn't register.
Well, they start by holding their hands in the correct position, not backwards.
Golf. I thought we were talking about baseball again. Yeah, I do that. My game this year is going to be a lot better. You watch.
It's crazy to me that you do that in golf, but not baseball, but you swing the same way.
Yeah, that's just me. There's a PGA qualifier. Did you see this?
No.
In Kelowna, there's like these like local qualifiers, and if you place in whatever, you can qualify for like a bigger event. So it's anybody. You basically just have to make the cut kind of thing. And I thought, wouldn't this be crazy if this was
like making the cut?
Yeah, except not hockey. And not like who even won that? I don't even remember. So
I don't
anyway, you're talking about my golf swing, and I thought, wouldn't this be the year? Wouldn't this be the year? Anyway, we talked about
So you're saying there's a chance.
You're saying there's a chance. So Movement Health and Wellness, they're back with us. Things are going well. I'm excited for what we've got for the summer. I think the PP1 Podcast, Ballhawks Podcast, Track Meet, whatever that is, it's got to have a name. Something. We're running and the Track Meet. We're going to do that, the 40-yard dash. We're going to make that happen this summer. That's going to be an event. If there was a way we could like live stream that, I think that'd be pretty awesome. I don't know how
it'd be a lot of downtime, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that's the best part. People just walking up to the screen like, hi, Dad. Hi, Dad, is it you? Because our kids will be there. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, we've got lots, like I said, coaching. We've got the playoffs going on right now. I'm trying to watch a game, but that's not going to happen. Just lots of good things. I'm very excited. Oh, before we get to like all the business, we have business here. So I posted yesterday on Instagram, on our Instagram, my Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. The voting is almost over for Best of Kelowna. Please go and vote. Now, I did get a DM from our good friend Matt's wife, Jen. She said she was a little mad because I said, don't vote for anyone else. No other category, no other nominee. It was self-serving. I'm not going to
except for Matt Ferguson Photography.
Yeah, you got to vote for him. Absolutely. Yeah. And my flooring company that I work with. But that's not the point. I was making a thing. Please go and vote. There's only a couple days left. I think it's to the 16th is the final voting day. We want to win. At the very least, we want to come third. I want the freaking sticker that we can put on our window, on my transom window at the front door. So when people ask, why do you have a Best of Kelowna sticker on your front door? Because my husband has a very good podcast. And that's all I want. I'm greedy like that. And petty. And petty. So anyway, let's get into some hockey talk. You want to talk about hockey?
Yeah, let's talk about hockey.
Are we cheering on Canada's team, or is it's all Canucks and you want to see everybody lose?
No, we've talked about this before. Back when everybody was
now it's playoffs.
When everybody was so stoked about, we're having the all Canadian division. Like we're gonna love it so much. Yeah, until we're like 6 games in and you've seen the Flames 3 times, you're not gonna like it.
And I want to throw up in my mouth.
Turns out I was right. And I don't want the Canadian teams to do well. Like I'm not like shy about it either. I don't want the Oilers to do well. I never want the Leafs to do well. I definitely don't want the Flames to do well. I think I hate the Flames the most. So here's not that I hate them. It's just like the biggest rivalry. But if another Canadian team wins the cup before Vancouver, we'll never hear the end of it.
And especially those 3. If it was Winnipeg or Ottawa, and I'm totally being theoretical because that's like the Browns winning the Super Bowl. I'm really sorry about that.
It's never going to happen.
No. So like Winnipeg, Ottawa, if that, or even Montreal, I think I could tolerate Montreal.
Sure, I'm fine with Montreal going to a final or something. Yeah. Can't win though.
Yeah. So, but we've got Toronto and we've got Edmonton, we've got Calgary. That's the 3 that are in right now. Mm-hmm. If you had to pick a team, not to cheer for, but that you said you're cool with going ahead, and the other 2 miss, which team are you saying, like, I'm cool with them advancing at least to the next round? You got to pick one. You have to pick one right now. And I hate to tell you who mine is.
Probably the Flames.
That's mine. That's awful to say, isn't it?
For only, obviously Markstrom, Tanev. I mean, I don't know if we can really count Toffoli.
Yeah, we can.
But
he was here long.
Yeah, there's enough boys. There's a couple of guys on that roster that I obviously want to see do well, and see do. But like, I don't know. That's equally weighted in the opposite direction because of a guy like Milan Lucic, right? I mean,
yeah. No, I feel
and I'm sure I'd be fine with Lucic if he was on my team, but he's not. Right?
So
I still have some like Stanley Cup hangover from Lucic, right?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have Stanley Cup hangover until the next time we're in the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, like I wasn't even fully recovered from my hangover in '94.
We still hate Mark Messier, Brian Leetch, and Mike Richter to this day. I mean, we hate Mark Messier for so many more reasons, but that's a podcast in itself.
Yeah, that Flames Stars series might be the series of the playoffs, right? I mean, it's just
there's no goals though.
It's just super physical. It's like, you have to like that side of it, right? But it's just like those teams are so evenly matched, it seems.
So I would pick the Flames for a different reason. We've talked about this, I think, as long as I've known you. the Oilers and the Leafs have always been jockeying for like the team that they believe that they should be, right? So now the Leafs have got not McDavid. They've got Matthews, Marner. They've got Tavares. They've got, Jason Spezza is a fourth liner that fill in. There's a lot of talent.
Nylander,
there's a lot of talent on the team, and on paper and through most of the season, they're phenomenal. Nobody's gonna discount that.
Phenomenal cosmic powers.
But you know what? What they don't have is a goaltender, and they still don't have a stellar defense. And then we put that same narrative over in Edmonton. They have had the first overall pick how many times? They finally got rid of all the crap as far as the noise, and they went and they were able to draft McDavid and Draisaitl, which is again in itself. They still have Nugent Hopkins. They got rid of Taylor Hall for Larson 1-for-1, and they still went after a guy like Mike Smith. Darnell Nurse is their best defenseman, and then that's it. There's not you look at this team, and again, both of these teams combined, you have 5 of the best players, if not the best players on the planet right now, and they're in the same boat. They're getting there in a different way, and all it would take would be not an upset, but a loss from both of those teams, and it's it's calamity.
Yeah, and to me,
whereas Calgary's kind of figured it out, right?
If there was a team you were supposed to walk on, it would be the Kings too, right? And it's I don't know, man.
I do know Cinderella run. Go figure.
Everything you stated is correct about the Oilers. They just never ever fixed that problem, right? How could you not use your all of your assets to be addressing the goaltending issue, just like Calgary did by going out and getting a guy like Markstrom? It's just,
and then they get Tana.
It's such a disservice to players like Draisaitl and McDavid. It really is.
And it's a shame. I don't know if you saw the game last night. Did you watch the game last night?
I didn't. Yeah. I don't really try to watch other games, but I've caught a bit of it.
We got home from Addison's ball, and so we're having pizza, and I'm watching. I'm like, I'm going to watch this because I haven't seen a lot of playoff hockey, and I want to see the Oilers lose. Well, the Kings go up. They ended up back and forth. Kings go up 4-2. They tie it. Late, Draisaitl, absolute clapper to tie it. It was a beautiful goal. I'm not going to discount it. That was some pretty impressive power play action. And then they just about lose. LA just about wins it with 2 seconds left in the game. I think it was off the post. Couldn't believe it. A minute 12 into overtime. Oilers don't even get the puck. 5-on-5 overtime. The Oilers started a line with Draisaitl and McDavid, did not have the puck, and Kempe goes in for a second of the game and wins it. A minute 12 into overtime.
And I feel that pain. How often did we feel that this season as
Canucks
fans, where it was over before they even touched the puck in overtime, right?
That's 3-on-3. This is 5-on-5. This is everybody.
Yeah. Bad.
And it just it broke down, and I just smiled. I'm like, I can go to bed now. This is great. They're that
we usually
close.
see these. Yeah, we usually see these games where it's it's so tight.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just so tight, and it's a battle, and then you lose one like that, and it's really disheartening, right? And I find that, and I have no evidence of this, but I feel it's harder to come back and win the next game when you're so demoralized losing an OT game like that. It's a lot more work. It's almost easier. It would have been better for Edmonton if they had just been ripped up 7-1.
Yeah.
And then it's
holy,
it hurts. Yeah. Now it hurts. Now that's embarrassing. We have to come back and win. You're going to get a whipping from your coach. Your fans are going to give it to you. And it's after a blowout loss, you can pretty much guarantee the other team is going to come back and win. Yeah. Or that's the way it always feels like it. But they're in tough now, right? You lose a close game like that. You drop a series lead to 3-2. You head to LA after a close game.
And if you've been to LA, folks, you can joke all you want. California knows it's hockey now.
California knows, right? And it's a tough place to play. And the Oilers have done nothing, much like the Leafs, to show that they have the killer instinct to win this game. And until they do, I just can't believe in them.
And you go to the Kings now, and they've got a Dustin Brown who's on his swan song. He's
a couple guys who know.
But he's been there. He's won twice. They've got Jonathan Quick again. We talk about a hot goalie. All it takes is right now it's one game. You've got Adrian Kempe, who's their next rising star, right? You've got Kopitar. Again, he's won 2 cups. You've got a few other guys on that team that have had it. They've done it. And now
They've done it. And even if they aren't the guys that are doing it now, the guys that are doing it now have to be able to draw from that experience. And there's nothing there from Edmonton's standpoint other than we haven't done it yet and we have to do it.
Yeah.
So until you beat the man, you're not the man.
Thanks, Ric Flair. Appreciate that. So because while everyone's enjoying playoffs, it's great. Great television. Great theater. The Canucks, they were in a draft lottery. They had a 98.5% chance of getting 15th.
Not that it matters.
They got 15th. So we're not going to get into draft mode quite yet. We're going to bring on Faber next week. He's committed. Faber, when you listen to this, I'm guilting you now. You have to be on the show next week. But he's going to come. We're going to talk some Abbey Canucks and probably draft prospects and stuff. I know that's your wheelhouse. I'm not as much. Next year, I'm going to be all in with the Connor Bedard sweepstakes because
we should probably do another mock draft. Just like
I'm in for it.
But we'll have our boys on. Maybe we'll get Chris and Steve on from Ballhawks. Just like we went on there for their mock draft. They'll come on for ours. It'll be fun. We'll divvy the teams up. I like that format. It was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
I mean, who cares if you don't know? Do a little bit of homework.
No, I know. So I know enough to know that I'm going to rely on my good friends on the forecheck down in Nashville, the SB Nation draft preview. And I feel that I'll know everything I need to know for the first round on that one. So it's going to be a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun last year. I think we did a great job of that. So again, Canucks are in 15th. The Habs have the first pick, which means they can't win the draft lottery next year. And as I just said, if you were going to win a draft lottery, next year is the one you like. Shane Wright's going to be good.
Can't they win? Can't they not? They cannot win the draft lottery next year, but can't they just finish last in the league and pick first?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they can get the first pick. I'd have to look into it, but as far as I know, they could finish like second or third as far as the balls go.
Right.
But they can't do first. That was a new rule that got implemented. It's like the Edmonton rule.
For some reason, I thought that if they finished second to last, like 31st or 30th or something like that, there was no ball to pick first. But if they legitimately finished last in the league, then I could be wrong.
Someone could chime in. By the way, we're on Facebook and YouTube. Come and chime in if you have the answer for that, because I don't, and I'm not going to challenge you on that. So,
I mean, I don't even know. So,
yeah, we're just a couple of guys in Kelowna that are.
I talk out my ass. I don't know.
I've done that a few times. It goes. It's like a butt trumpet. There's one more lottery. I guess, is it a lottery or a sweepstakes? I guess it's a sweepstakes. The Andrei Kuzmenko sweepstakes. Mm-hmm. So I know enough that this guy is pretty awesome. He's a right wing. Is it right wing right shot or left wing right shot? I want to be sure on this. I had this all prepped, and then I screwed it up. So I do apologize. Yeah, he's a winger. Let's just go with that. He's got a right shot. He's a winger, and the Canucks are down to, I think, the top 3. Now they haven't said that when they're going to make a decision.
He's a right shot player, though, for sure.
Yeah, but they said basically he can be slotted into top 6 instantly. Well, I think we need a guy like that. And if it just costs you money, do it. Make it happen.
Yeah, and this has been something that the Canucks have really been good at in the past, right? I mean, Chris Tanev was found money. I mean, you go all the way back to guys like Troy Stetcher, and
totally.
In this case, NCAA college free agents, and we've won a few of those, right?
Yes.
We've also lost a couple of those too, but it works the same way. Yeah, it works the same way as an undrafted Russian player coming over. So you can come into the NHL, decide what team you're going to play for, sign for the league maximum, which I believe is, what was it, 980,000 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then immediately at the end of that ELC contract, he goes to free agency. So he's a complete unrestricted free agent. He can go wherever he wants to at that point. I think you're just hoping as a Canucks fan, if he comes to Vancouver, that you have the ability to re-sign him.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of and this team has to add talent, has to. And not to mention and flashy talent, and not to mention the fact that you're going to have to figure out what you're doing with a guy like Brock Besser.
Yep.
And if this guy plays the wing and a similar style of game and is only 980,000 and maybe does enough to warrant a good next contract, then that would be phenomenal.
It's Alex Chase on money.
Yeah, it's Alex Chase on money and probably a significantly better player, right? So, and they're gonna have to figure out what they do with Brock, right? Because he's gonna be owed a qualifying offer that maybe a season that he put in doesn't dictate. So they're gonna have to figure out what they want to do with that. Do they step forward and make the offer? Do they work on a trade? Do they walk away from it? I mean, I think if you can bring in a guy like Andrei Kuzmenko, it certainly opens up some of the options that you're going to have to decide on at that point. Maybe if you have a Kuzmenko, maybe you feel a little bit better about making a trade, or maybe you can think twice about whether or not you want to re-up. And I still believe in Brock. I still think he's a heck of a player.
But you got a guy that scored 20 and 33 last season in Russia.
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, probably the second best league in the NHL, the second
Yep.
best league in the world, though, right? I mean, it's not like it's
not a slouch.
It's no slouch, right? I mean, and he's a smaller guy, but he doesn't play small, right? I mean, if anything, he probably plays like a similar game to Podkolzin. He plays thick. He's got a lethal shot. The guy can dangle. He obviously knows what he's doing. You put up 33 assists in the KHL, and obviously you have some vision and some playmaking ability too, right? So, the cool thing, I actually have seen him play a number of times, which is very noticeable during his time that he's playing with Podkolzin too. When he was out there, I think we were all trying to tune into games in Russia.
I know I am. I stay up late for these games.
Yeah, well, I always watch them on Rewind on DAZN and stuff like that, right? But
you've got DAZN?
I mean, yeah. So yeah, Gary's saying the next Anton Rodin, right? So hopefully he's better than that, Gary.
And he might even get more than 0 seconds.
Yeah, we might even play him in an NHL lineup. That would be great too.
Oh, remember that?
Yeah. Okay. So I like the guy. I mean, I hope that we can put forward to him. Maybe they have a couple of things. Apparently, Bruce Boudreau was involved in kind of like the college pump, right? Like they go sort of to all these recruiting, right? I mean, who knows what you believe in a recruitment statement, but if Boudreau's there, maybe that means Boudreau's going to re-sign his coach too. And if there is one thing, if there is one thing as a bonus, is that he knows Podkolzin too. So maybe that helps
him, right? Now, I'm not a big fan of ska. That wasn't my style of music. Although I did like No Doubt. So maybe there is hope for this ska boy. But yeah, you bring up Bruce Boudreau, and he was in that meeting, and that's a pretty key thing, right? I'll get you Ovi's autograph. Done. Let's make it happen. Get it? Make it happen. I'll give you my address.
Wouldn't that mean that he goes to Washington? Yikes.
Oh, right. Shoot. But you don't have a guy that isn't going to coach your team in a super key interview like that for a prize free agent. You just don't.
Who knows though? Why not?
But why would you, if you were unsure about, I mean, are you just going to throw everything at the wall and hopefully it sticks?
I will play devil's advocate in this one. I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you go to the nth degree to sell him on whatever? Just like get the guy here and figure the rest out later. If Bruce isn't the coach, I wouldn't tell him that.
I guess that's not a sell then at that point.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, for sure he's going to be here. Like, oh, will Bruce be there? Like, I want to know that Bruce, there it is, right? Like, yeah, for sure he's in. Yeah, we're good. You just get him here.
Like, all right, let's end the interview. Like, everything went good, right? Yeah, okay, great. It sounds like Bruce is coming back. It sounds like the articles I've read today that they're finalizing some things. They're ironing some stuff out.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I would have thought if they were going to do it, then he would already be here. I think if like another week or two,
right?
That's fine. Yeah, I think if another week or two goes by, then I would maybe think that it might be less likely. I think if you're waiting that long, because I think part of this is probably on Bruce as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's
like who knows what they're saying, but like behind the curtains there. But I mean, there could be some pretty plum jobs out there after the first round of the playoffs. Like, let's be honest,
Barry Trotz is available. He got canned.
Also crazy.
Barry Trotz. I met his sister one time.
I know. So I know Gary had asked this question. Like, what would be what would be a reason to not re-sign Bruce? And I thought that was like a great question. I had to like sit there and think about it. And one reason would be that you feel like there's a better coach available for you out there. And wouldn't you have to put a guy like Barry Trotz's name in that, in that conversation?
I would. Like, soon as he became available, I thought, man, they don't get Bruce. Like, how is that
Yeah.
not your first choice?
And when I answered that question, I used the example, Chicago had Savard as their coach, and there was nothing wrong with Savard as a coach, but then they're having, an okay season. They're being somewhat successful. Structure is another one that he brings up, but so they're having an okay season, somewhat successful, and then Quenneville becomes available, and they pulled the trigger immediately, right? Pulled it immediately on Quenneville because you think and that he's a better coach, right? So structure, Gary's comment there. I don't know what the structure is in comparison for Boudreau. It obviously seems to fit this system. We need to get the power play and the penalty kill worked out. But it's not like I wouldn't think that Trotz wouldn't have good structure either. I mean, he's kind of known as that type of coach, right? So,
and I mean, he's like, I think he would be a player's coach, but he has great structure. He's like, look who he has coached.
Look how grumpy he looks.
I'm cool with his. I like his grumpiness. I mean, Brucey's got some grumpiness to him, but he's a big.
He does, yeah.
So I kind of like that. I mean, you've got both of those options. I think if you lock in Bruce, great. Or if he decides to come back for another season, because we all know it's not going to be a multi-year deal.
Yep.
He's coming back for 1 year. And I think
it might be.
It's fair but I think it's fair if it is 1 year, that it's fair to both sides, because he did come in halfway through, and you can't change the structure like overnight. And overnight, I mean in a half a season. So yeah, I would like to see.
I think he did change the structure.
He did.
I'll argue that, yeah.
But he also had to still play with kind of what he had. So you start a season, training camp with all the new parts, all the new toys, hopefully Kuzmenko's there as well. Now you've got a full training camp to really work on what Podkolzin can do. You've got a full training camp. Maybe you've got a Jack Rathbone available. You've got a full training camp. Pettersson coming off a quietly pretty awesome season. All these guys come back, and who knows what's going to happen with JT. But you've got enough there, and I think Bruce is worth that. At the same time, if you got an opportunity to get a guy like Barry Trotz,
you have to explore it. You have to at least explore it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so anyway. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I would like Boudreau to come back. Like, let's not get it crazy. Don't overthink this. But those are some reasons why.
That's a fair comment. Let's take a break. Talk about our good friends at Move Health and Wellness. They're not sponsoring the dudes and guys. You know what? We're going to move them up to billing. They get billing for the next little while, because you know what? You're doing good at this. You know what? I trained you well. Well done. When it was 4 people, when we did our football show, you got good at that. When we had the 3 of us, you were good at that. Thank you for bringing that up.
Like this, right?
There you go. Oh man, seriously, if you ever get fired from your current job, I would hate to see that happen. You'd be very good at doing that. Ouch. Sorry, that was a little awkward.
Knock that wood behind you.
Oh shoot! I might get in trouble for that. Crap. Why are you knocking on the wall? I'm sorry. Dad made me do it. Move Health and Wellness. They have helped us out a lot. I've been going now for massage therapy for a little bit, which has been great. Things are going well on that side. We played ball against John, as we were talking about. A lot of fun. The one thing that I keep coming back to, first and foremost, they've got 3 locations. One in Kelowna, inside the Jack Nathan Medical Center in the Walmart. Talk about the parking. Parking's great. You can park wherever the heck you want. Go grab a bag of chips when you're done. It's great. They do have counseling. They do have, oh my goodness, registered massage therapy. And they have chiropractor. So I want to talk about John. They also have other services in their other 2 Surrey and South Surrey locations. The one thing that I keep coming back to with John is when he was kind of debunking those myths, right?
Yeah, it was like the Siegfried and Roy of chiropractic.
Yeah. So my family, we used to go and get I never went to a chiropractor, and then my wife decided let's start going as a family doing this, and we would get the cracky backy, as he called it. And I mean, it does sound tacky when you say it that way, but we were going there and we'd get an adjustment, and basically you're moving some gases around, feels like you're freed up.
Feels nice.
Really, yeah, but it sounds great. Everybody goes, "Oh, that was a big one." Yeah, that's great, but it doesn't do anything. Now, talking with John a lot about these kind of things. And for me, I mean, massage therapy is great, but I've got some things that I would rather be able to figure out, like, how can I fix myself long term and not have to rely on one service? Because I think whether it's physiotherapy or like, we use a lot of these things in conjunction with each other, right? Like sometimes, if you are rehabbing an injury, like our buddy Chris for his lacrosse injury, right? Sounds like he might be close. You rely on a few different services. And the neat thing about John is, I think he kind of said, and he's like, I know it doesn't sound good, but he goes, if I'm doing my job right, he goes, or what do you say? You don't want to see me again, kind of thing. Like he wants to do the job.
Yeah, sort of
Like
paraphrasing, right? But
joking, yeah,
the whole idea is that you come see me, we teach you the things that you need, and then you shouldn't have to come back and see me now because you've now learned how to help yourself, and we've cured the injury. It's not supposed to be about a recurring thing. It's almost like the whole teach a man to fish scenario, right?
exactly. And I think the one thing about a chiropractor is it's not just, we're gonna do all this and that. Like you're gonna be working on stuff. When my family, we'd go in for our like family kind of group thing at our old place, we were in and out in like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
Everybody gets their back cracked. We walk out. Here's the bill. Benefits.
that's the thing. It almost feels impersonal. You're there for 15 minutes. You see the doc for 5. It's crack, 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 and then you're out the door as quick as possible so the next person can get in, right? When you see John, he spends some time with you. He's looking at your injuries, he's taking time and care to figure out what your problem is, right? He's assessing the situation for you to get your proper health and care. And then it feels like it's worth it for you from that point, right?
And we talk about sports like we, come up with a game plan, right? There's a game plan to get your body fit. Like this season to start, I was talking to actually both of them in the clinic a couple weeks ago, and it's stretching is a big one for me. Apparently 38 hasn't been kind to my body. Of all years, who knew things were going great last year, but I'm starting to figure out that I need to do a few more things. So go check out John. He's more than happy to help you out. It's a service that, quite frankly, like I think people need to know that there are other ways to to get fixed up, and we can't just rely on what we're doing. So Move Health and Wellness. Go see Dr. John Lutz at Move Health and Wellness. He's going to take care of you. Let us know. Let him know that he's a mediocre baseball player too.
Yeah. So obviously not just locations in Kelowna, but the Lower Mainland as well. So make sure you're scoping out a Move Health and Wellness that's close to you.
That's right. I said that. I did say that.
Yeah, we just said it again.
Just backing it up. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's get back into some hockey. We did talk about the LA Kings, and you know who's having a playoff so far? Troy from freaking Richmond. Troy from Richmond is having a better playoffs than there are some superstars that are currently.
You know what, though? I just think Troy is just a little undersized. I don't think he's good enough to play in our top 4. I think what we should probably do is turf him and maybe look at signing like a bigger, sort of slower defender that doesn't really have a lot of offense. And we could probably pay him somewhere around the 2.5 range. I think that would be really good for our team. I think if we just let Troy Stetcher go and maybe bring in a guy like Tucker Pullman, that would be the right choice.
That was a stupid idea, and it did not pan out. We could have, I mean, he wouldn't be in the playoffs right now, but.
Well, shit.
He's having a good playoffs. He really is.
I mean, he's really good defenseman. I don't know whatever the hell the problem was with Stetcher in this organization, but I know for a fact that, I don't know for a fact, but I feel like I know for a fact
I feel
that
like
this current regime would be all over having a guy like Troy that can skate, that can move the puck, that can log minutes.
How much was he going to make?
Is responsible at his own zone. Who cares? Like,
I'm saying $2 million.
Yeah,
that's a steal. That's a steal.
That's a steal. You could have maybe they'll take Tucker Pullman and trade.
Wouldn't that be absolute? Like, is that ironic? Is that the proper word here?
I don't know. You just shouldn't be looking at a guy like that thinking like, whoa, he's not good enough. I think I can do better.
But I think it was coach and GM, right? Like it was a combination of those things, I bet.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I can work with this guy.
All it was basically every season that Troy played for the Canucks, it was like borderline 6 defensemen. And by the midway point of the season, there was injuries and he'd crept into the top 4. And at some point during the season, for 2 to 3 weeks, he was playing in the top 2. And for some reason, that just wasn't good enough.
I don't
being a reliable D-man who can move the puck.
I don't like it.
It's not that good because I think you're undersized.
I don't like it. It makes me mad. But you know what doesn't make me mad? There's another guy that's playing for the LA Kings, the Eagle, the Silver Eagle. He looks good in those chrome domes. You gotta love that Alex Edler is also having a pretty decent playoff.
And that hair.
I
Yeah.
could grow that hair.
Moves to LA and he becomes like the hockey version of the Big Lebowski. How do you not like that?
Well played. Well played. Is it weird that I kind of like LA right now? Like, is that okay? Can I do that?
Yeah, it's fine.
We're
It's
gonna let
fine.
that
We're
slide?
fine. Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
The Twitter account alone.
Things are burning everywhere. It's fine. It's fine. We're okay. I don't know. I'm just excited. Good for you guys taking care of business. I was bringing up when you decided to ghost me at the beginning of the show, villains in the playoffs. So usually we find there's a guy that like becomes a villain in a playoff series and then it carries on to the next season. And now we like hate that guy. So who would be like a villain for you? And it can be like all time. And we can't say Mark Messier and we can't say Brad Marchand.
Oh,
Well, that's low-hanging fruit. Who would be like a villain for you that was created via a playoff series, past or present, that you still like think like, man,
I think we already talked about this. It's Lucic.
Lucic? Okay.
Yeah.
Milan Lucic. That's a fair one.
It's yeah, for me it's Lucic.
I think I'll
never get over the Dan Hamhuis thing.
He kind of did that himself though.
Yeah.
Like he did injure himself on that one. I think. I would say like a guy, it's kind of funny, like Dustin Brown for the longest time, right?
Oh, accidentally on purpose, Dustin Brown?
Yeah. Exactly. Like he's just in there. And actually I kind of felt that way about Toffoli for a while. And then he got to Vancouver. I'm like, oh, we actually really like this guy.
Yeah, like I'm cool with Toffoli and Pearson now.
Yeah, that's all good. You guys hear it? Okay, cool. That's cool. Let's go. Yeah, I don't know. Like Dustin Brown, he was always that guy. And he was that close to being a Canuck too. Remember that?
That's right. I forgot about that.
Or 2012. And like, I don't know. Like maybe things are not panning out. And then they absolutely explode. And, the guy's going to...
And then
they're going to retire his number.
Re-endures? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, re-endures himself to the organization and fan base again, and then carries it on for another 10 years.
He's been, just an absolute staple in LA. And he's consistent, just not even just a staple. Like he's consistent. You know what you're going to get out of him every single season. What's not to like? And yeah, everything to hate if you're an opponent.
I think you're right. The reasons you dislike a player like Dustin Brown are the same reasons that you want the guy on your team.
Exactly. And that's why I left Brad Marchand off, because he's the one guy, like when it comes to Team Canada, one of the first guys I want in Team Canada. When it comes to the Boston Bruins, I hope your face falls into the boards with your, like, I hope bad injuries happen to you.
Yeah. I can't believe he hasn't injured his nose more often.
Well, yeah, it's always first into a scrum, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, he like drop D'Angelo or something the other night and like called him. I think he called him like a racist and stuff too. And everyone's like, "We like Brad Marchand." I'm like, what?
He's like Marchand is like old school Burrows on steroids.
Yeah.
Right.
And like crazy.
So I think Burrow is like a shit, but like Marchand is like fucking mean.
Yeah. but he scores, and he's gonna tell you off, and he's gonna bury you on the score sheet. Like he had 5 points the other night. They had 5 goals, and he was in on every goal.
Yeah.
And yet they're losing in the series. So whatever.
Do you have like a favorite like Alex Burrows chirp?
You can kind of go back to the Kelly one against St. Louis.
What was the Kelly one?
Him and Kessler, remember? Took Bacchus's wife. Like, hey, tell Kelly I said hi. That one sticks out. I
think mine was. Do you remember when they were playing Detroit, and Aaron Downey was stretching at the line?
Yeah.
And so Burr goes over and stretches at the line next to him. He starts jawing at him, and then he had dug down deep and then figured out that his parents were potato farmers. So he was calling Downey a potato farmer.
Oh, jeez.
And remember, Downey like crossed the line to go after him. Like he was mad. And so that was Burr's thing, right? He would like early on, especially when he wasn't on the Twins line, because he had to be responsible at that point. He would find a guy, and then he would Google the guy and then do his research on the guy before he would go into the game with something shitty to say, like, "Hey, you fucking potato farmer."
Yeah.
So I think that was my favorite, was the potato farmer one.
I remember our good friend, old boss, James Rayburn, and when he was in Ball Hockey Nationals, and he played against the Montreal Red Light with Alex Burrows. And he's like, that guy was so good. He would tell you off in French, and then he'd score on you. Like, man,
ball hockey beret, yeah.
Like, what a combo. And then he signed the deal, and they told him to stop playing ball hockey because his talents were in the NHL and not on street hockey. Fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny. I don't really have Burrow's chirps. I don't really remember a lot of them.
There was the interview, the Hockey Night in Canada interview was really funny. Like when he was doing his Mark Crawford impression, that was pretty hilarious. Like, shoot the puck, Burr.
Burr! Yeah, Burr, get up.
Go do something out there.
That was pretty good. Yeah, what a great player. I met him. So he did an autograph signing at like the Bell in the mall the day after he signed his first big contract. And so it was cool. Our Jersey City, we managed to get like a Burrows jersey to give away, basically so we could get involved in the action and get autographs. Self-serving? Sure. Why not? So we went in. So I got to meet him before like the big autograph signing came. And so, came in, hey, pleased to meet you. Congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I got one question. He's like, yeah, shoot. I'm like, how big is Ryan Kessler's nose? And he just roared. He's like, it's huge. Like, I broke the ice right there. And he's like, I like this guy.
Oh, man. I remember that. I remember that. Yeah.
How big is Kessler's nose? And like, it was, again, dude's riding high, just signed a massive first contract after his like UFA, right?
Because that was their line, right? It was their line that was getting. They turned that season around.
He had
because they ended up separating them.
Yeah, he had just become. I think he had just played a season with the Sedins, and that was it. And now the dude's Ring of Honor.
You're like, okay, let's lock this guy up.
Let's do her. Let's do her. I wanted to bring up. So we talked about Bruce. Bruce, there it is. We're in the car last night. And we listened to Sirius satellite radio on the way home from the ball game. And whoop, there it is, comes on. I started on the way to the ball game. I apologize because it lasted forever. Kinsey, my 8-year-old daughter, she's an absolute goofball. Yeah, I didn't know she knew the words or enough of the words. There's some bad words in there, but that's okay. And she's whoop, there it is. Like she's pronouncing all the phonetics or the phonics.
She's putting all the correct emphasis on the right syllables.
Oh my goodness. It was so funny. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. And then you hear she goes, and then she wouldn't shut up. Shakalaka, shakalaka. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, there it is. Went on for the whole bloody song. I could not wait to get out of the car. It was so funny. And I'm like, Ken, do you remember where you heard that from? The Rockets game? No. The Canucks? Yeah. I'm like, remember Bruce? Bruce, there it is. That's right. Whoop, there it is. She said, just keeps going. I'm like, oh, we're gonna hear this the whole ball game. It was hilarious.
When your youngest daughter knows the words to whoop, there it is. It's
not good.
These 3 words when you're getting busy.
Yeah, I was starting to listen to lyrics. I'm like, oh man, if they start really listening, parenting's gonna be tough in the next couple minutes. A couple more things, and we're gonna leave everybody alone. What do you want to go? We got 2 things here. So the Canucks, remember they traded for their own third rounder.
Mm-hmm.
There's a chance they might go offer sheet season.
Where do they get the dough to do that?
Well, it depends on who they offer sheet. So it sounds like there's a list of players, and I'll have to find the tweet. Someone to put it out. But Noah Dobson was on that list. So it's a first and a third that you have to trade out as your offer sheet. And I don't know if there's cash involved. I can't remember how the rules work for that. But your first and your third for a guy like Noah Dobson. Now, I don't know what a guy like Matt Barzal, because he's due, is he not? Matt Barzal? What would he?
That's a big haul for Barzal.
Would you make a move for him?
Not in an offer sheet.
Not an offer sheet, but in trade, sign and trade, or trade and sign.
Yeah.
What would we have to do? JT Miller?
Everything.
JT Miller and Brock Besser for Matt Barzal?
Probably more than that. Probably significantly more than that.
You think so?
I think so.
I think
it's a trade that New York just wouldn't want to make. So they're going to be something like.
But they're cap strung.
Yeah,
Or
we don't care. Like, you're going to have to come with us to something better than that to rebuild this franchise if you're going to take a player like Barzal and say, go away. Like, every time a player, not every time, I guess, but
every time. Be
you know,
honest. Be truthful
every time
with
a player like that is meant to move, like,
Yeah.
and I think he's just like,
He's in that territory.
I think he's great. Like, I think he could lead the league in scoring, like, on a 3-year stint. Like, I think he's that good, right? And I think that he's been hamstrung somewhat by playing where he's playing.
But that's my
So-
point. Maybe you have an opportunity. Now that's an agent thing, probably.
Yeah, like, they probably say something like Pedersen.
That's probably fair.
Like, if I'm New York, because Pedersen's on, like,
Fiala, yeah.
Fiala. If Pedersen's on, I think they're going to regret signing him to this bridge deal. Like I said right from the very beginning,
Yeah.
I think it's moving that way. But
Well,
like,
it's
if I'm
because
New York,
they had
why
to
am
make
I
a
not?
decision.
Yeah, why am I not asking for Pedersen back?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense not to.
So do you make that move right now, straight up? If it's PD for Barzal, do you make that move right now?
I think like everyone and their dog will hate me for this, but I think Barzal's a better player than PD right now. Maybe even long term. I think the higher ceiling is Pedersen's, but I'm not sure if he gets to that status.
But the higher floor.
The higher floor, it's without question, it's Barzal. Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you take that floor every day of the week?
I don't know. That's the thing about this, like, Canucks, right? Canucks just love their team. They love their guys. Their guys can do no wrong.
I love
right?
the Stanley Cup. So how do we get there? Let's talk. That's how I want to say.
Could you imagine if this current regime did something like that? Like,
we would have stuff to talk about for weeks.
Like, they would worry about
down like the first paragraph of the press release.
I like this Fiala thing though. I would be all over a guy like Fiala. I think that'd
Fiala.
be fun. Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing somehow if we could get Matt Dumba.
Good call out there, Gary. I don't know about Dumba. I need to do a little bit more work on defensemen. I think that's where they need to start focusing on to turn this team around, not being like, hey, we have this offensive stud. Like, can we add another offensive stud?
So let's
if we trade out an offensive stud, like, for me, the OEL deal is just looking worse and worse and worse as like the months go by.
Yeah.
And I still think it was one of the stupidest trades.
But
I think it's going to age so poorly. But I like some of the things that came back. Right. But it's very clear to me.
We knew it didn't feel good.
No.
But we knew that.
But they were just so hell bent on moving those shit contracts, right?
And maybe it's easier to move away from these than it was those three. In the moment, it felt like it. For them, realistically, they were 1 year away from freedom.
Oh, like, it should have been like, you get a bad contract and you get a bad contract and
But
you get a bad contract. But now they have one really terrible contract for a good defenseman. Like, he's good. Yeah. And that's going to be hard to move, right?
I think he's movable.
I think he is movable. That's going to be hard to move.
That's the problem. Like, this league, think about it.
That's always the thing. You're right.
Like, you look, like, there are GMs, there are scouts or whatever. I mean, Pierre Maguire just got fired from Ottawa. That lasted a long time. But I mean, look where what's his nuts went. Hamonic.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you can only fleece Ottawa so many times, you would think, right?
Like, it's like, you look, there are GMs out there, and because it happens all the time. There are GMs out there that they see that problem differently, and they think, no, I can change that guy. Which is
they just can't move any more draft picks to make a move like that happen.
No.
Like, they haven't made enough picks over the last however many years. And like, we're close to having the proper number of picks this year. Like, I mean, it's not the NFL. Obviously, it's going to be hard to move picks and stuff when it comes to draft day. This isn't draft day, right? This isn't, Mac no matter what, right? But
Mac no matter what.
It's going to be hard. Like, I would always, like, as a Browns fan, I would go into it and be like, Browns have the number 17 pick overall. I'm like, sweet. They're trading down. They're going to trade down to like 22,
and they're
going to end up with another second round draft pick, and they're going to end up with picking, an extra guy in the top 60. And I'm all for that. And I would love Vancouver to do something like that to trade down in this NHL draft. But I see that as very difficult to happen. I think other teams aren't going to be so jacked to get into 15 to pick a guy that,
you never know, though.
A lot of talent looks the same between 5 and 15, right?
But maybe there is a guy, because everyone has a guy, right?
It's a maybe, yeah.
Like, we talked about, remember when they drafted Besser? And I was a huge Merkley guy, and I thought, oh man, they can finally get him. They can finally get like this guy is a can't miss. And I mean, thankfully they did draft Brock Besser, and that's worked out quite well. Merkley's been around the league a little bit. He also had some injury problems, but like everyone has a guy, right?
Merk Daddy.
And the higher you go up, the once you have a job where you get to pick your guy, and
Yeah.
you've got statistics and you've got research and all that on your guy, you get to make that call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now all of a sudden, like, well, like I really want this guy. We can't let him leave. We got to trade up to get him. It happens in lots of leagues.
Yeah, and I see that scenario playing out. The caveat to that is like if somebody that good fell to 15, why wouldn't you just take him?
Yeah.
Like to me, the NHL
Maybe
more
you
than
don't need him. Maybe you can afford to get more.
They need the guy.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I
they
don't
do.
care who the guy is. Like you need the guy.
So
Like-
let's say they get Kuzmenko. Let's just say, I'm going to play this out for a second. They
Yeah.
get Kuzmenko, right? So now you go in and think, okay, we got a guy on an ELC, dirt cheap. He's going to go into our top 6. We can afford now to move down in the draft. Maybe we trade our first for like the end of the first or like 2 seconds, let's say. And they're also willing to take on OEL or something where we can fandangle that into like a defenseman, maybe not like a top 4, but maybe a 4th defenseman. So now you're slowly chipping away. You add an extra pick in a round that's probably equally good to the first, maybe not crazy good, but there's a lot of depth still in a second round, and you get 2 chances now, or 3 if you've now added 2 picks.
Mhm.
To go after someone. You now add maybe not as flashy as an OEL name, but you get a guy that can contribute. Let's say Troy Stecher. I'm just going to joke about it. You add Troy Stecher back somehow, and you get rid of that big contract, and you've added a few picks, and you don't have to go in the first round, but you got 2 seconds out of it.
So you're saying you trade so you're saying you trade
down.
the first and you get current NHL help. You get a roster player and you get a second round pick. I still, you know what? I still don't do that.
Right. The situation has to be right. I'm not saying do that because
I
there
see
definitely
what you're
is
saying.
value in the first round, but it's the same as the NFL. If you can trade down and there isn't a guy that you're gushing about, and I know there will be in the first round for a lot of teams, but this organization, this management group now has a very different goal than the last one did. Now they're thinking we have to be smart in every aspect of our team, drafting, trading, building up to where we at, getting rid of the problems that we were hampered with when we got here. So they've got a bunch of different things to do. How do we do this effectively?
So
and I think that'd be one of the things.
I think the way you do this effectively is by buying more lottery tickets. And I think lottery tickets come in the form of draft picks. That being said, I don't like the idea of trading and you have like a good run there. I get all those points. What I would say to rebut that is I don't like the idea of trading yet another first round draft pick for current help, especially when a player might be available that we know probably isn't going to help our roster between 5 and 15. But that there isn't enough. There's not enough in the cupboard. Like what's on the farm right now? Like we have a couple guys, right? There's like DiPietro. There's
but I'm not saying
Rathbone.
nothing though. You'd still get just 2 picks. Keep going.
So there's DiPietro, there's Rathbone. The cupboards are like empty, man. Like
I know they're empty.
We're poor. It's ramen noodles every night, and that's what we're inserting into our lineups, like ramen noodles. Like I want a steak to put in there and a guy that you can develop. No, you can't go into the draft being like, I'm going to draft a defenseman because we're low on defensemen. I think you take the best player available, but you have to believe that best player available is going to develop for you at some point down the road in the next 3 to 4 years. The issue with having multiple second round draft picks is I think the Canucks have tried that over the last few years. See Jonah Gadjevich, Cole Lind.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Oh, Jet Wu is playing fucking
forward,
like fourth line forward in Abbotsford right now.
Yeah.
Another second round draft pick. Like this regime just let go of like 4 or 5 scouts that currently exist on this roster are now gone. And I think part of that has to do with the fact that outside of looking at the first round and a couple of guys like Rathbone, it's like a bunch of guys like second round draft picks that aren't going to make this team. And I think that if you're going to have lottery tickets, they have to be lottery tickets that are in the first round for you to have a chance to cut on these players to make them work, because every round that you go later, your percentages just decrease and decrease and decrease. And I don't think that you can restock the roster, because it's not about next year. It's about the next few years. And you can't sustain anything without you can't sustain anything without having proper first round draft picks. If anything, I think they need to go out and get themselves another first round draft pick. And maybe that comes in the form of a JT Miller. And that's how you get your extra player back. Maybe the Brock Besser is how you get your extra roster player back. I don't think you trade first round draft picks to bring in help. That's my thought process. I see where you're coming from. This team has had no luck drafting second rounders the last little while. And there's nothing help coming on the farm that suggests that it would be the right way to go.
I think, and I'll just add one more minor argument and we can leave it alone. They haven't in the old regime.
But it's still the same scouts, Ryan.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like you're right. They've brought on new scouts. Like that's going to happen. But have those guys done the homework over the course of the year for what's coming up in this draft? Like,
yeah,
probably not.
You're right.
You could flip it and say like it's all the same scouts. They're going to have the same shitty intel, and we're going to do poorly. Let's trade the pick. I see that. I understand that portion of it
totally.
But man, you got to start making picks. It's not enough there.
Well, they got one anyway.
They got one. Thank God.
Yeah, and he's still here,
right? When we're hanging our hopes on a Danila Klimovich, and he's being treated like he was a first round draft pick, because that's the highest pick we made. That's not good, man.
It's time for change.
Yeah, and to make change means is we can't do what the previous regime did and start trading first round draft picks for help.
I am so excited because in the next month there's going to be some crazy things that happen, and I think. Like, I'm excited. I'm excited for the shakeup. And I don't know what that looks like. And I'm cool with whatever it is. Because it has to happen for this team to move forward. The thing is, we know there are people there that are going to shake it up and have proven records that they can take a team further. And there are good pieces to this team. There are very good core pieces to this team. And they might have to get rid of one of those guys, the core 5, 6, or whatever you want to call it. One of those just outliers. But at the same time, I think if you're going to shake this up, if it's a JT Miller or Brock Besser, heck,
then shake it up.
If there was a deal, and it won't happen because it just won't. But if there was a deal for Pettersson that you just couldn't say no to, he's just a guy. I'm sorry. He's Elias Pettersson, and it would suck to see a guy like that leave. But you got to think, if they were willing to trade him, there has to be something crazy coming back.
Well, it's just like it's the opposite of the Barzal deal, right? If a team comes to me and says, we want Pettersson, I'm asking for the world. And if you say no, oh, well, I get to keep Pettersson. If you say yes.
Here we go. Yep. Exactly. I love it. This was good.
It's not going to happen, but yeah.
This was good. Man, I'm glad we had that extra little break, that Sunday show. Had a week and a bit to really just suck it all in and get back to Crazy Town, where we thrive here. What are you trying to be like, The Rock or something?
No, it just smells good. It's fresh air.
Yeah, fresh air does smell good. It'd be nice if it was sunny fresh air for the next couple days. There's lots going on. Hopefully the playoffs end the way we want them to for this round. I'm excited to see what next week brings, because I think the first round ends on Saturday. We're gonna have a lot to talk about next week. Hopefully, we're talking about Bruce or whatever that looks like. I don't know.
I'm gonna say Tampa Roar's back.
I hope so. Wouldn't that be great?
Not that they're up. I mean,
wouldn't that be something?
Toronto's up 3-2, but I just think Tampa Roar's back in this one.
I hope so. That hockey needs a series to go that way. They need the Leafs. Sorry, you got something?
Well, we should ask Gary what he means by this. Besser for first plus a young D. I like it.
I'm in.
Yeah, I like it.
Like I said, this is the team I cheer for. The name on the back's great. Name on the back doesn't mean a whole lot if there isn't a Stanley Cup attached to that name. It doesn't. This is a Pavel Bure t-shirt. I will wax poetic about that guy till the day I die, but he never won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, if your captain was Taves and he's the most boring guy in hockey, but he wins you cups.
3 of them, actually.
Well, I like boring captain centers then. That's what I like now.
I want all the swag.
What about Taves there? Yeah, wallpaper.
Devin Taves? No, Jonathan Taves. Jonathan Taves down at the car park. This has been great. Any final words, sir? Yeah.
All good, man. Ready for summer.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. Bust out those PP1 podcast slides. We got to start finding a way to give some of those away.
Yeah, let's get back on that.
We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
This has been the PP1 Podcast. We're on the Dean Blundell Network. I told you guys to vote for our best of Kelowna. We're going to send out the link one more time. Ted maybe can share that video again on Instagram. That would be great. You can check us out on Apple Podcasts. You can check us out on Spotify. I think you can share that on Instagram. That'd be great. Just get our name out there. We've been doing well. We had a good run in Taiwan last week. Really think that is going to be our niche, which is a weird thing to say.
Yeah,
But
we're number one Canucks podcast in Nepal.
Hey, if we're number one somewhere, that's all that matters. I want to see this podcast grow. I really think that we've got something here. We're in year 3. And usually that's where you find out you're either in or you're out. Like if you've gone this long, you're committed to something. So people commit with us, jive with us on Twitter and Instagram and let's get something going. If you're in Kelowna or let us know. I mean, summer's coming up. COVID is it's still a thing, but we can get together, have a beer.
Yeah, let's hang out. You can come play on our ball team. Maybe we'll do a round of golf. We'll grab some pierogies or we'll go get a beer at one of the many local breweries down here in Kelowna. So yeah, let's do it.
We're ready to thrive again. So just give us a like, give us a follow on YouTube, on Instagram, Twitter. Let's get the PP1 podcast thing rolling because you know what? We love bringing this to you, but we need your help too. It's a call to action, I think is what they call that.
Oh,
you see, yeah. I was listening in marketing. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I know. I'm a grown up. What can I say?
I was there for those meetings. I kind of forgot.
Call to action. This is a call to action.
It's here.
I should have that.
It's your CTA. Yeah, that's a website term, just so you know.
Oh, is it? No kidding. No, go figure. So anyway, on behalf of my good buddy Ted to my screen right, I'm Ryan with a really big head and a really nice microphone. This is the PP1 Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy it in your headphones on your drive to work tomorrow. Peace out.